You know, guys, the old wine and cheese crowd allegations, those don't seem to apply so much here anymore, do they?
Especially in this game. Everybody's ready. This is a great atmosphere.
There's no finer rivalry. I've said it once, I'll say it again. You can bring them all on. You can bring on Michigan, Ohio State football, Alabama, Auburn football. Unless you have sat here and feel the electricity, the intensity, the passion, the unbelievable competitiveness, this is as special as it gets.
Our officials are Roger Ayers, Les Jones, Tim Nestor. The Blue Devils with the first possession of the night and one change in the starting lineup for Duke as well. Tyler Thornton is in. Rashid Suleiman, who's been struggling his last 3 games, will come off the bench.
No surprise, going right down in deep.
And the jump hook for Plumlee over the smaller McAdoo.
They're going to try to take advantage, Jay, inside with that size.
Well, you can't double team down on Mason Plumlee because of the presence of Ryan Kelly. But you also have Reggie Bullock guarding Seth Curry. That puts a little more size on Curry.
And Hairston over Kelly misses the 3. Plumlee with a rebound. That matchup at the 4 spot, which is really what Hairston's playing, even though he's a guard. 6'5" Hairston and 6'11" Kelly will be fascinating to watch.
No, it's really amazing, though. Against teams with size, they have not had a problem. Against Maryland with Len.
How about Tyler Thornton? Hit 3 big threes in the Duke win over Carolina at Cameron last month, and he's got an early one here.
Well, he's had some big ones in his career. Over in Maui, made that big one to beat Kansas last year.
And he's covering the 6'7" Bullock, but Thornton's a tenacious defender. McAdoo too strong. Kelly the rebound.
Kelly's so versatile. Kelly, he can shoot the 3, he can rebound, and he's a terrific defensive player.
Crowd wanted a walk. Roger Ayers said Curry did not have possession of the ball when he was shuffling his feet. Curry trying to get by his man, and he does. What a layup, and what a start for Duke.
Tell you, that's what he does really well now, Jay. He is really attacked off the dribble versus just a catch-and-shoot jump shooter.
Well, an excellent stop-and-go move.
And a hold is the call on Strickland. Everything going right for Duke in the early going. And Seth Curry, Jay, playing through an injury all year, hardly practicing all year, still having a great year.
Well, did a really nice job. They got a switch out top with that screen by Ryan Kelly. That caused Bullock and Hairston to switch. And anytime that Seth Curry puts the ball on the floor to his left, he's looking for that step back with his right. He's going to try to take it.
Tell you one thing, the MVP for Duke, I don't think it's a guy like Plumlee. I don't think it's Curry. I don't think it's Kelly. I think it's Jose Fonseca, the trainer, for getting him ready to play in Kelly. And also Potter, the assistant, the therapist.
Kelly, left hand, 9-0 Blue Devils, 2 minutes into the game.
There's only one stat that impresses me with Kelly. 17-0, Mr. Millis.
Well, they have done a really good job of spreading the floor. They have spread North Carolina out. They've been putting the ball on the deck and driving it.
And Frank Tanner, who got the start, the walk-on on his senior night, has gone to the bench at that last whistle. Marcus Page now into the game for Carolina. Hairston, offensive foul, no basket.
Ryan Kelly, who's an outstanding team defender. He sees the ball, he sees his man, and does a really good job of moving his feet. I don't know about that one.
I don't know about that call. They got away with one right there. That should have been a score.
Yep, that should have been an N1.
Duke hasn't missed a shot, 4 for 4.
Trying to take advantage inside. And get the ball into Plumlee. You know, without Kelly in the lane, he's drifting from the basket. With Kelly now, he's playing more in the low box.
Curry for 3.
What a start. What an incredible start.
And a travel is the call on Strickland, as Carolina can't do anything right and Duke can't do anything wrong.
Well, Carolina's down 2 touchdowns already in the first 2.5 minutes.
Timeout, Roy Williams. Wow.
They need to pass and move rather than just dribble and move.
Player movement's so vital, Jay. If you get ball movement and player movement, you're going to get an opportunity to get good shots.
Carolina comes in, remember, having won 6 in a row. They've beaten Virginia, Maryland, NC State, and led Duke at Duke into the second half last month. Kelly bobbles, finds Thornton, still plenty of time on the shot clock. Cook gets the switch.
They're switching every screen.
Curry banks it in, and it's officially a 2-touchdown lead right now. McAdoo fouled by Thornton, and will go to the line for Carolina.
Well, the first really good sign of Carolina getting the ball out in transition, and that is their key. They got to establish some kind of a running game. But you know what's really impressive with Curry here is the way he is scoring, Jay. He is scoring in multiple different ways, not just shooting the jump shot.
Well, when he gets going, he really starts looking for his offense. And at times during the season when he's had bigger defenders on him, that's been a little bit of a struggle. Not that he's struggled all year long, but with Reggie Bullock on him, he's done a really good job of finding openings, and he's taken advantage of switches.
You know, it's really amazing. In September, Mike Krzyzewski was recruiting in Chicago. Phone rings, it's the trainer. And the trainer, he said, I know this is not going to be good news. And they didn't think they're going to have him this year. And the trainer has done a phenomenal job, and the therapist as well. And they got this kid ready to play. And what a year he's had, averaging 17.2 a game, which is third in the conference.
Part of the highest scoring brother duo in NCAA history, along with big brother Stephen. McAdoo knocks down a free throw. Leslie McDonald in for Dexter Strickland. Give a lot of credit to the crowd. They're going nuts for a free throw, trying to help spur on the Tar Heels.
Well, they've been all fired up here since about 6 o'clock tonight.
Cook, floater. Rebound Bullock, who's done an outstanding job on the glass in recent games.
They're going to need some threes out of Bullock and out of Hairston.
Tough pass. Too close together. 3-on-2 Duke. Kelly, offensive foul.
That's a good call right there by Mr. Ayers. No doubt out of control. You know, Page is an interesting player. He's gotten better and better, Jay. Had 8 turnovers against Maryland.
They did here today.
And Dick, you were there. Mike Krzyzewski called it one of the great performances any of his players has ever had at Cameron Indoor Stadium.
Well, it might have been the best I've seen in my 34 years because of the factors involved. As they finally hit a jump shot right there. McAdoo, really, when I thought about it, Jay, you think about not playing since January 8th against an elite top 5, and they needed every one of those 36 to win.
And to do it after having missed 7 weeks where he only had 1 practice is really the remarkable part to me.
Kelly trying to back down Hairston. Good D by Hairston. Gives up some height, but he's tough as nails, and he did a good job down at the post against Kelly. Here's what Duke has done with and without Ryan Kelly. Jay, when Duke gets evaluated, and there's still a week of basketball to go before Selection Sunday, do you think the committee will evaluate them on the entire body of work, or predominantly based on what they've done with Ryan Kelly?
Well, I think you have to do it on the entire body of work, but even with the entire body of work, great pass and great post job by James Michael McAdoo.
Terrific low post play right there. McAdoo's got the crowd. This crowd didn't quit on him when they were down 12-zip. This crowd has been alive. Do you hear me, Sammy Cassell? Sammy, he said wine and cheese, baby.
Curry step back over Bullock. It's Seth Curry with 9 already.
And he scored in a variety of ways. He shot a 3. He took a drive to the goal. He shot the medium-range jump shot.
You have to sit on that step-back move when he goes left. Every time he goes left, he's looking for it.
9 points away from 2,000 in his collegiate career. Good rebound in traffic by Plumlee, and here's Curry. Suleiman is into the game and now for Duke.
Last 3 games, Suleiman's had a total of 16 points. Went through a little bit of slump, but he's an outstanding potential talent. He's had some great moments this year.
Josh Hairston on the floor for the Blue Devils as well as they go over the top for Plumlee.
Terrific execution, 2-man play, released him, got him to the basket for the layup.
A little back screen by Seth Curry there freed him up.
McAdoo, he's got 7. Carolina's got 7.
Well, he's got 7. Plumlee's not really guarding him, leaving him wide open. Allow him to shoot that little medium-range jump shot.
Plumlee to his go-to move, misses it. Hairston there for the putback. As P.J. Hairston, no relation, wound up on the deck, and an easy lay-in for Josh Hairston.
Duke has been using Seth Curry to screen Mason Plumlee down in the low block.
Another rebound for Plumlee, who's averaging better than 10 boards per game.
They're going back to the same play they just ran. They screen for the screener with Curry setting that first screen. Well defended by Carolina.
Then did a terrific job playing that screen right there, Jay. Interesting matchup here, Page and Cook.
Plumlee driving, spinning, and lays it in. What a move by Mason Plumlee.
Tell you what he demonstrated right there. A lot of mobility, agility, great spin move to the basket.
Hedges, crowd wanted a foul there on the contact. Don't get the call. Hairston the drive, and he is fouled by Josh Hairston.
One of the things Duke has been doing is taking Curry, who will come set a back pick. Curry will come down, set a back pick for Mason Plumlee. He goes all the way to the bucket because nobody steps in to bump that cut or nobody comes in from the weak side. Well executed by Duke, and then they ran a different set with Curry screening him into the low post.
No help side defense at all. The most dangerous things to basketball. Bobby Knight used to preach that at clinics. No one rotated to give any help at all in the lane.
Well, that's why they run it in the middle of the floor to try to eliminate that help side.
At the line of P.J. Hairston, probably the biggest beneficiary, definitely the biggest beneficiary of the smaller lineup that Roy Williams has been using as he moved into the starting lineup. Picked up about 10 minutes per game, scoring about 17 a game since the change, but now he goes to the bench. And Jay, interestingly, two of the so-called bigs, Hubert and Johnson, are both into the game now at the same time.
Bryce Johnson, more of a scorer. Desmond Hubert does not score, but he's a guy that does a pretty good job on the defensive end and on the glass.
Hey, the guy that's really played well for them the last 6 games has been Strickland. He's had 31 assists and only 3 turnovers. In fact, the game you have in Maryland, we went 6-0.
Seth Curry can't miss. He's into double figures already now with 11.
He's trying to match his brother at 54 against the Knicks.
Well, he's moving so well.
Yep.
He doesn't look like he has a leg injury to me. I know he's got one, but he is moving really well.
Strickland uses the screen. Now finds Bullock. Over Curry. They need a big night from Bullock.
I don't think he can settle for jump shots. North Carolina's had success taking the ball to the basket. I think the Tar Heels need to consider driving it more.
Tell you one thing they've done a great job doing is shutting down the 3-ball. They're not allowing him to get any shots at all. If that goes in, unbelievable. Are you serious? Come on now, somebody wake me up. That can't be real.
Curry's asking to come out. He's a little bit winded. I think Mike Krzyzewski pretended like he didn't see him.
13 for Curry.
I wouldn't take him out.
Johnson off with a jump hook. Hubert, 2 cracks at it, but could not finish. Media timeout of the next whistle. Some winded players on the court. Seth Curry breathing hard, but he keeps knocking down shots. Cook, the kick to a wide open Suleiman. Rebound Hubert. Crossover by Strickland. Takes the bump. Follow no good by Johnson. But a fresh 35 for the Heels. Strickland now. This time Hubert gets it done.
Hubert, the defensive dynamo, comes in with the good offensive rebound. Maybe that gives him a little lift. This crowd wants to really explode, but they're not going to explode unless their team helps them out. Being minus 15 doesn't help them.
They got to get a stop.
Curry again.
He wants to come out. He wants to come out. There's no way I'm taking him out, man. He is on fire.
And Duke is 13 of 16 from the field. You cannot say the same about Carolina. They've been cold. Josh Hairston has it. And a travel is the call. So it'll be Carolina ball. But a week kind of game that you were at, Jay, is the daytime portion of the game day doubleheader. Throttling Syracuse 61-39. And how significant a win was that for Kentucky today?
Boy, really an incredible win for Kentucky. It was 57-50 with 7 to go. And Florida did not score the remainder of the game. Remarkable.
Tell you one thing, that was a win. I think they're going to dance in Big Blue Nation. I think that win was so significant, a must W for the Cats, and they responded. The crowd was electric.
J.P. Tokuda into the game for the first time for Carolina as the Tar Heels turn it over for the 5th time.
Well, a lot of unforced errors for North Carolina, and they have been taking some questionable shots and not getting the ball into the paint. In a position to foul.
You know, Jay, they don't have any rhythm, it seems, offensively. I think we have to credit a little bit to the Duke defense.
No question.
Hairston with a steal. Strickland with a 17-footer, not there. Carolina shooting 25%. Duke shooting 81%.
You know, Strickland more a distributor and a defensive player than a guy that's going to pull up and shoot jump shots.
Well, especially jump shots off of no passes. I mean, North Carolina's not moving the ball, and they're not putting Duke in a position to foul them.
Curry, who's got 15 for Duke, getting a breather on the bench right now as the Blue Devils scramble to maintain possession.
He's 7 for 7, man. 7's running wild for Curry.
Shot clock running down to 5. Cook's got to make the play. Finds Plumlee. Carolina ball.
Terrific defensive sequence right there by North Carolina.
Hairston. And a foul by Kelly. The second on Kelly, and 3 free throws coming for Hairston.
Well, not a smart foul by Ryan Kelly. North Carolina is switching ball screens on the other end. And that was a very difficult pass. Mason Plumlee couldn't handle it. And that's just not a smart play by Ryan Kelly to foul a three-point shooter.
No, he lost his balance right there, but really, he's going to be more cerebral than that.
Hairston to the line for 3 as we check in with Samantha Pavitt.
Yeah, guys, one of the things Roy Williams told me yesterday was that he's seen this team come further than any team he's ever coached, and that he's enjoyed coaching this team as much as any. Now, obviously, that's not noticeable right now, but the reason for that is that he told me he's seen this team handle early adversity and tough things so well because vocal leadership is not a problem. Now, I've been watching him early. Communication, there just hasn't been a lot of it there. He said with some of the older guys, especially, he wanted Reggie Bullock to be that vocal communicator. Right now, they're just lacking that, guys.
Tell you, Sam, you talk about toughness. Maybe you read your book, Jay. Toughness. I read it. Very good. I love the stories that are on Doris Berg. Terrific. I'd like to 10% of the action for promoting your book.
Well, I appreciate it.
A foul on Tokido. This game began with Duke leading 14-0. So they have traded a point since then. 28-14 Duke. Duke locked into the 2 seed in the ACC tournament. Carolina locked into the 3. But if Carolina wins tonight, they'll both finish with 13-5 records in the ACC. Curry's back in. Finally misses one. Carolina ball. Duke has the tiebreaker on the basis of a better record against Miami, the top team in the league, than Carolina has this year.
I think we're going to see a spurt by North Carolina. I think really they have that kind of ability. They're an explosive offensive team. And I don't think Duke can play much better than they have played early in this game.
Well, North Carolina's going to have to get something going to the basket. They're not going to win a jump shooting contest against Duke.
And Duke will be without Kelly for a while, you would think. He's gone to the bench with 2. Another loose ball. Carolina gets it back. Shot clock didn't reset. They've got 10 seconds.
Out of rhythm. They have no rhythm whatsoever.
Hairston forces it up. And Plumlee down with a rebound.
Just a poor possession right there. On the pass, they tried to initiate to the wing. It was telegraphed.
Cook trying to slow it down a little bit. Get some order back.
Well, Curry does such a good job of moving without the ball. Now when you pick up your dribble, everybody stop moving.
Plumlee's been begging for the ball. McAdoo doing all he can to deal with him down on the post. Cook open. Buries it.
The 3 ball is lethal, and Duke's got several guys that can make that 3. I think one thing's a lock. I think Duke's on the first line as a #1 seed.
Mike Krzyzewski talking about that pregame. He's not so sure as McAdoo knocks one down. Of course, it depends what happens in the Big Ten with Kansas, Gonzaga, Big East, and elsewhere. Right now, though, he's got to like what he's seen from his Blue Devils, up 15 here in Chapel Hill. 3 down, 65 to go over the next 8 days. Chris, thank you very much.
I want to say congratulations to Florida Gulf Coast. They beat Miami early this year, and in 2 years, Andy Enfield's done a great job. He used to be an assistant at Florida State.
Terrific with coaching shooting as well. Andy Enfield does a terrific job.
The foul right before the timeout was on Tyler Thornton, his second. So Kelly and Thornton each with 2 for Duke, but that's about the only thing that's gone wrong for the Blue Devils so far tonight. McAdoo way off. Bullock on the weak side, but he stepped out of bounds, so no basket.
Stepped down the line. McAdoo's got to make that open jump shot. I mean, it's a 12-footer. Good execution. They get him the little jumper.
Well, he's been making it all game. He's really been the entirety of North Carolina's offense.
He has 9 of their 16. Curry has 15 of Duke's 31.
Look at the size inside right here. Good defense there to get the deflection.
Good hands by McAdoo.
They need a 3-ball. They haven't hit one yet.
They'll try one, and McDonald will miss it. Curry takes the handoff, lobs it up. Follow no good. Probably wasn't sure whether to go after that ball, whether it was a pass or a shot. Strickland with a pull-up leaves it short, and it's Duke's ball.
I think Strickland's shooting the ball too quickly. I really do.
ESPN's Sunday afternoon showcase comes your way from Columbus. It'll be the Illini taking on the Buckeyes. The Sunday afternoon showcase at 12:30 Eastern time on ESPN and also live on Watch ESPN.
Tell you, my defensive player of the year would have been Noel had he been here all year, but I'm going with Kraft. Nobody plays the ball tougher than that kid. He's a leader, he's a winner, and he'd get my vote as defensive player of the year.
Ryan Kelly back into the game for Duke. Playing with 2 fouls. A steal by Hairston. Jay, they are doing a better job at the defensive end. They're just not making shots now.
Much more active. It's a lazy pass by Seth Curry. Now let's see if North Carolina can get something going more toward the basket. That's a challenge 3. Those aren't good shots. You can get those shots any time you want. And North Carolina's always had success against Duke when they try to put the ball on the floor and drive it.
See, I think what you said really well there, the challenge 3. Little layup, little give and go, beat the cutter to the basket. Unbelievable. 2-man never beat him to the basketball.
Well, it didn't jump to the ball. I mean, that's just a simple little UCLA cut.
McDonald off the glass and good.
Well, that's what you're talking about, is getting the ball to the basket. Where you can spread this defense out and then drive it and put Duke in a position to foul you.
Roy Williams is going to go to a couple of guys who haven't played yet tonight. Joel James and Jackson Simmons getting ready to check in. Cook open in the corner. Another 3 for Duke.
They are really executing. See, that wasn't a challenge 3, as you said earlier, Jay. That was a wide open 3.
Loose ball to the Blue Devils. Here's Curry. Duke is shooting 73% from the floor, and they're 4 of 6 from three-point range.
There is no doubt they are a different team with the components they have now, and they're healthy with Ryan Kelly on the floor. He creates all kinds of space for the other players.
Plumlee with the left hand this time, and it's the largest lead of the night for the Blue Devils.
He's able to take his time down there, and nobody is coming over to double team because they can't come off of a 3-point shooter. Plumlee is a good passer, and he can pass the ball back out of the post, so he's getting a lot of time to go one-on-one in the post, the toughest thing to guard in basketball.
And that's why the value of Kelly is so big. You just don't recognize his value in the box score.
They need this one. They don't get it. Bullock with a clean look, and it can't knock it down. And we'll step aside with Carolina still going over from beyond the arc.
Well, Duke with a ball reversal here. The UCLA cut. Then a ball screen. They get the ball to the other side of the floor, and a terrific extra pass, the right pass by Rasheed Suleiman.
His dad, Mitchell, an NBA player, both went to Florida State. Both of you have seen him play. How good is this kid?
Wow, he's really explosive. Great bounce up the floor. I was teasing his dad, Jay. I said, Mitchell, you were good. I did some of your games early, but you weren't in your son's class, and the mother might be the best athlete of them all.
Yeah, he's a spectacular athlete. He's the best player in high school right now.
And again, he's reportedly down to a Final Four of Florida State, where mom and dad went, Kentucky, Kansas, and tonight marks his official visit here to North Carolina. 6'7", 205. And he'll be playing somewhere next year for 1 year, in all likelihood, before he goes on to the NBA.
Well, Duke's got one coming in next year by the name of Jabari Parker, and he's right up in the top 3 in the nation, along with the kid Randall, who's also right now wide open.
Yeah, Julius Randle's a lefty, another outstanding player, as is Parker.
Page driving by Cook. Tough floater, no. Joel James just into the game. Muscles his way in for the putback.
I really think he's going to be a good player, Jay. He's a freshman, just learning how to play. I think if he stays with it and really concentrates, works down in the post, he has a chance to be a good player.
No, I agree. He's really improved his body. He's got a challenge right now taking on Plumlee.
Again, James and Simmons, couple of energy guys, both coming into the game for Carolina after the last timeout. Roy Williams has shortened his bench recently. Cook wide open and misses the three. Plumlee with another rebound. Suleiman. And Duke misses 2 threes on this trip.
I think Suleiman's thinking on his shot rather than just catching and shooting in a rhythm.
Well, Duke needs to set ball screens with Joel James, involve him, because Carolina's switching every screen so they can get a matchup with James having to guard a smaller player with the ball.
Page wide left on the jumper.
Too many questionable shots by North Carolina.
Not making the extra pass. Not making the extra pass. Not getting movement.
Not making any passes.
Exactly.
I think Duke's got to use Mason Plumlee to set a ball screen here to involve James in some screening.
Here comes Plumlee.
He's going to hit one right there.
And James fouls Curry before the shot. This week's NBA Sunday Showcase features a couple of big-time matchups on ABC. It begins at 1 Eastern time. It'll be the Celtics into Oklahoma City to take on Kevin Durant of the Thunder. But then the second game, the Bulls and the Lakers. The NBA Sunday Showcase coverage tips off with Kia NBA Countdown at 12:30.
Tell you one thing, Doc Rivers has done a phenomenal job losing Rondo. They have really played well.
Kelly. Offensive foul number 3 on Ryan Kelly.
Good job by North Carolina rotating over. There's no doubt about the charge. They rotated over. Here's the help. Right there, bang.
Well, Kelly was trying to drive Joel James. He had a matchup that he could drive, but he would have been better off with just a short little pull-up jumper. Really nice job by Marcus Page to step in there and take that charge. He's a tough kid.
From out of Iowa, I was being great to Roy Williams, LaFrance, Collison, Heinrich.
Yep. Harrison Barnes.
Yep.
Harrison Barnes.
Bullock has not scored a point this half. Offensive rebounding, though, about the only reason why Carolina isn't down more.
That's one of their strengths. They've been a really good offensive rebounding team. Bullock's got to make some shots. They can't win without him putting some points in the board.
And a Carolina foul. Mike Krzyzewski will use a timeout. Well, the big story in the first half, especially in the opening minutes of the game, guys, the production of Seth Curry.
He's been on fire, there's no question. He made his first 7 shots.
And he's done it with different kind of moves. He does such a good job of changing speed. Sits there, a little foot fake, gets the defender to bite on it, lifts up his eyebrows, the defender leaves the floor because he's got so many different ways to score.
There is no substitute for guys that can tickle the twine. And he will play at the next level somewhere because he can make shots. That shot was almost impossible. Use that in the game of horse.
He has missed about 3/4 of Duke's practices this year because of the leg injury that they found out about before the season.
Boy, Duke guys do well without going to practice. I mean, Ryan Kelly misses 7 weeks. He gets 36.
What about you? Did you miss practice?
Heck no. I had to practice for everybody else. I needed it.
Tell you, number 1 seed has been dictated to. With a number 1 seed, they have done well. Won 2 national titles. Last time, 4 times the number 1. Number 2 seed, they haven't been able to get up to the Sweet 16. I mean, what are you going to do? Call the fire chief and come and help him out with the nets. He's ripping up the nets. They're on fire.
18 for Curry. The lead is 19 for Duke. Strickland using the screen, knocks it down. Less of a forced, rushed shot, Jay, than some of the other shots by Strickland tonight.
Well, when shots have been taken in rhythm, North Carolina's made of it. James Michael McAdoo's made some jumpers, but they've settled for jumpers a little bit too much in this first half.
2 things are missing out of North Carolina in their scoring. And they've been a good scoring team. They're not getting anything in transition, and they're not getting anything from the 3-ball. So those 2 areas have been taken away from them.
There was a whistle that couldn't really be heard. but it was a foul against North Carolina on Strickland, and free throws coming for Suleiman. Number 2 on Strickland. This is his senior night, so an emotional night for him.
His diaper game, he's had some great moments. He's had some struggles. Last 3 games been struggling. 16 points total, but he's had a 27-point game against Boston College. He made some big shots against North Carolina State.
He's terrific in the second half against Ohio State. Didn't score in the first half and the second half. I think he had 17. Really tremendous.
1 of 2. McDonald will return for the Tar Heels as they'll set up potentially for one last shot here at the end of the half. It started 14-0 Duke, and Carolina got a little bit closer for a few minutes, but now down by 18 in the closing seconds of the half.
Well, you can talk about getting stops all you want against this Duke team, but North Carolina's going to have to get stops, and they're going to have to score much more efficiently.
Well, that's what Roy told us before the game. He said, you're not going to beat Duke unless you score, and we have to score.
Page can't buy one. Time for McDonald's. And a very disappointing first half on senior night here at the Dean Smith Center comes to a close with the Duke Blue Devils in control the entire game so far. Seth Curry with a game-high 18. Duke shooting almost 70%. Carolina hasn't made a 3.
And it's 40 from fouls and some easier buckets.
P.J. Hairston in the first half had 5 points, all from the free throw line. Reggie Bullock didn't score in the first half. And those are 2 guys who have been carrying the Tar Heels in their 6-game winning streak.
Well, an example was the game you did. They had 41 points and 19 rebounds on the road against Maryland.
Nice cut, and Bullock gathers and scores.
Well, there's a cut without the ball. Looked like a set play, got a good screen, made that cut diagonally, got the basketball layup.
Keep in mind, one issue for Duke as they start the second half. Ryan Kelly's got 3 fouls. Good help there by Bullock. Carolina ball.
We're going to see if North Carolina's got a little pride in themselves right now.
And Page out of control, charging into Kelly as we check in now with Samantha Ponder.
Jay Billis talked about UNC rushing shots, and that's what I asked Roy Williams why that is. He said, I have no idea. This is the least poise and the least patience I've seen my team play with all year. And I said, Coach, how do you coach that up? How do you change that? He said, all I did at halftime was remind them what it took to get here and how they played the last 6 games.
Sam never seems to find the quiet spot in the arena. Right in there with the Carolina students as Plumlee is fouled and finishes.
That's your smart basketball. Go down low to your old ACC performer. There he is, right looking on the box. McAdoo releases from. There's the contact, the score. Roy Williams not happy at all. There he is, jumping off that sideline. He went a little bump on Plumlee.
Well, James Michael McAdoo was taking off to go the other way. He thought that they had a turnover. And that put him in a bad position to try to slide back in and take that charge. He almost got it.
Plumlee, an improved free throw shooter in his senior season, 67% this year with the old-fashioned three-point play.
You know, he went through a little slide there for a while. When he took about 7 shots a game for about a 3-game period.
McAdoo, followed by Hairston.
Hairston on the offensive boards. You know, I mentioned he went through a little slide, Jay. I don't know your opinion, but mine, if I were to give out the MVP of the ACC, I got to go to Shane Larkin. I got to go to the victor goes to Sports. They won. Congratulations, by the way, to Jimmy Larinaga and his kids.
There are 3 Wooden Award candidates. A list just released of the final 15. 3 ACC players on the final 15 Wooden Award list. Shane Larkin is one of them. Mason Plumlee is one of them, and the nation's leading scorer, Eric Green of Virginia Tech, is one of them, as Plumlee battles and finishes again.
Size really becoming a factor. He's active as well, Jay.
Well, he just overpowered James Michael McAdoo on that play.
Bullock loses it out of bounds.
Out of control, not making passes, not screening. Plumlee's really taking charge down here, utilizing his size, strength, and power.
He just went right into the chest of James Michael McAdoo, knocked him back a little bit, and That allowed him the opportunity to get that offensive rebound off his own miss.
Plumlee now with 13 points and 6 rebounds tonight.
The switch really gives a bad matchup here for North Carolina.
Strickland on Plumlee. He kicks it out to Kelly.
Kelly playing with the 3.
But go back into Plumlee.
And now they get their defense set up properly. Look at this rebound by Tyler Thornton.
Terrific offensive rebound. No way a guy that size should get that rebound inside.
North Carolina is switching every ball screen. And you might be able to get a decent matchup if you plan for it.
Curry. Off Kelly, out of bounds.
That was a forced shot right there. It's pretty tough to say he takes a forced shot, but he was challenged on that one.
The West Coast Conference Tournament from Las Vegas, currently over on ESPN2. The top seed Gonzaga taking on Loyola Marymount. Later on tonight, St. Mary's and San Diego. Jay, are the Zags the #1 seed in the NCAA tournament?
Yes.
Even if they lose?
Well, if they lose, I mean, you know, if they lose, that might change things, but that depends on what everybody else does.
Everybody else is losing. I cannot see Gonzaga, Duke being denied a #1 seed. And I think a #1's going to come from somewhere from the Big Ten as well.
Sure.
And keep an eye on Georgetown. They're closing that gap for a #1. Kansas got beat today by Texas Christian.
No, they got beat by Baylor.
Oh, by Baylor, I'm sorry. Texas Christian beat Oklahoma.
Bullock with the foul, and count the basket for Plumlee.
Duke is just spreading the floor. A little ball screen slip action. The weak side, Reggie Bullock a little bit late in getting there. Not enough pressure on the ball from James Michael McAdoo on the switch.
But he's so active right now, Plumlee, and he's got that size advantage. Yeah, what about TCU beating Oklahoma? They also have a win over Kansas earlier this year, but really they've struggled all year in that Big 12.
Largest lead of the night for Duke. Oklahoma State picking up a big win over Kansas State earlier today.
I love Marcus Smart.
Of course, tomorrow Indiana's taking on Michigan, a huge game.
Trey Burke, my player of the year. No matter what happens tomorrow, I got to give him my edge. He's been sensational all year, offensively, defensively.
McAdoo the save.
Nice pass.
And Bullock finishes from Strickland.
And that's what Strickland's been doing well in their 6-game spurt. Let me ask you guys a question. They won 6 in a row. They played well. But who did they beat in that sequence they should not have beaten?
Plumlee again as they go over the top.
Too big inside. You know, Jay, who have they beaten that they shouldn't beat?
Well, same teams everybody else is beating in the ACC. If you win the games you should win, that's a sign of a good team.
Certainly not in a position right now to win this one after they played Duke tough at Cameron last month. Mason of Plumlee.
Dr. Davis, we had to defend him. I had him. Detroit came up there to play us and couldn't handle that Phil Ford, man. They went to the 4 corners, and I just waved the white handkerchief to Michelangelo Dean Smith, said it's over.
Bullock steps in, knocks it down from 15 feet.
They got to do a job defensively, offensively. It's been all Duke here in every phase of the game. It's not been a good game. I came in to see an exciting nail-biter, a Millock smasher. It's been blowout city.
North Carolina going to a 2-3 zone.
Yeah.
Don't see this very often from them.
Tough to zone them, though, Chad, where they shoot the 3. They're getting the gaps and seams with Curry and company.
And an offensive foul. Hairston called for the foul. That's going to get Kelly up off the bench and back into the game.
Well, as soon as Mike sees that 2-3 zone, you put your shooter in there. Kelly, you get in the gap. Coaching staff, Mr. Wojciechowski, Mr. Collins. I got a funny feeling Mr. Collins is going to get a head coaching job this year.
North Carolina running out of that box set that they run so often, set play. Boy, Reggie Bullock has had a tremendous year, hasn't he?
Oh, yeah, he's had a terrific year. He's been, you know, got rebound. He's passed the ball. Mike was singing his praises. Scoring's
up about 6 points per game from last year. 6'7" junior.
Well, his efficiency is so good.
Yep. McDonald. Carolina still looking for its first made 3 of the night.
And that's been the strength of theirs, the 3 ball, especially with Bullock and Hairston.
Strickland to drive and a finish.
Nice drive by Strickland. Played in high school at St. Patrick's, Elizabeth, and Michael Kidd-Gilchrist. Played with Kyrie Irving as well.
And Strickland comes up limping. And grimacing and will make his way to the bench as Page replaces him.
How good would Irving be in college? Are you serious? He'd only be a junior.
Yep.
A nice drive right there by Strickland.
They're in some pain, so they get him out of there quickly. 18 points, the deficit now. Kelly from the elbow. Plumlee over the top for a rebound.
He's been the dominant force here in the second half. I believe he's got 10 points, and he's been absolutely dominant. They got big gaps right there in that defense. Big gaps.
Too easy.
And it's off Plumlee's leg out of bounds.
He was too anxious. He was too anxious in that possession.
I think Jay might have actually had more space than he thought he had. There was really no defender on him when he caught that ball. And a timeout here early in the second half. The smaller lineup is, can they handle a big guy? And so far tonight, Jay, they have not been able to handle Mason Plumlee.
Well, Mason Plumlee had 8 points in the first half. He's got 10 in the second. Attacking off the dribble, getting an offensive rebound, and then a stick back, and then setting the ball screen and slipping all the way to the basket with nobody coming over from the weak side. If you don't have enough pressure on the ball, you allow vision, and they just pick North Carolina apart to the point where Roy Williams has decided to go with a 2-3 zone. It's been fairly effective.
By the way, Sam Potter telling us that Dexter Strickland was poked in the eye. That's why he has gone to the bench right now for Carolina. McDonald. Too strong on the jumper. Long rebound out to Page. And what a play. It is out of bounds off Bullock. As a diving Thornton deflected it out of bounds off the Carolina player.
Well, terrific play by Thornton right there. North Carolina struggling. Can't make shots. They're not making shots, and you have no chance. Shooting under 30%. Great hustle play right there by Thornton.
Just a terrific play by Tyler Thornton. Carolina sticking with his 2-3 zone. Ryan Kelly has been screening it, and they've put 2 shooters parked on the other end.
There's one of them in Curry. Long pass to Kelly. And they've still got plenty of time.
Want to use the skip pass against that zone. You don't want to throw the ball laterally. There's the screen up on top of the zone by Kelly. They'll step back.
Curry driving. Scoops it up. But we have a foul called against North Carolina.
Wow. Wow.
On Wesley McDonald.
They called a bump on him. Called him right there for the bump.
And Curry will be going to the free throw line.
It's another great asset Duke possesses. Good free throw shooters, especially late in the game. Guys like Curry, Cook, and Kelly, all 80%.
19 for Curry, now 2,001 points in his collegiate career.
That's combining with Liberty.
Liberty and Duke, yep. McDonald out, Strickland in, as Roy Williams. And this is the way it's been for the most part during the 6-game winning streak, Jay. He's really been using 6 players almost exclusively.
Yeah, it's not a team that's got a lot of depth.
Boy, nothing going down tonight for Carolina.
Can't make shots.
Hairston gets as good a look as he'll ever get and can't make it.
It's Brick City, USA. It is Brick City, USA. On the other side, Duke controlling the entire tempo and the rhythm of the game.
North Carolina 0 for 10 from three-point range. Curry traveled.
He left it his pivot foot. Good call by Les Jones.
A Bronx cheer here in Chapel Hill as the call goes against Duke. Les Jones, at least temporarily, the most popular man in the building.
What's Bronx cheer?
Screen by McAdoo. Pull up by Bullock. 0 for 11 from three-point range.
Not getting it within the realm of the offense. Just putting the ball on the floor, jocking threes. Jock City, USA.
Cook Off to Plumlee for the reverse.
Great penetration. The 3D man. You drive, you draw, you dish. And Mr. Plumlee having a field day. Jay, it's tough to see if they can make a comeback. Really tough.
Well, to make a comeback, you've got to get stops, and you have to get consecutive stops. And North Carolina's had a hard time staying in front of the ball.
Duke scored the first 14 points of the game, and Jay, Carolina got it down to 9, I think, once, but really has never threatened in this game.
Yeah, part of it has been in the first half, I thought their shot selection wasn't as good. And in the second half, they've had a harder time guarding.
Kelly the drive and the finish.
Great finish by Kelly. Tremendous protection of the basketball. I'm telling you, they got one element that a lot of teams don't have. They have 3 seniors that know how to play. Curry, Plumlee, and Kelly. And in today's day and age, you don't have veterans. They are going to be a tough out in March and March Madness.
McAdoo, too strong. Knocked out of bounds. It'll be Carolina ball when we come back as we near the midway point of the second half. A game that has been controlled by Duke, specifically 2 of those seniors, Mason Plumlee and Seth Curry. Plumlee now with 20 after the reverse. Curry, each of whom has scored 20 points here tonight.
And Curry and Plumlee by themselves have outscored the entire North Carolina team 40-36.
Mike Krzyzewski talking to us before the game about Duke almost reintroducing themselves to Ryan Kelly and vice versa, because they had to change so much when Kelly was injured. Now getting used to having him back in there after he missed 13 games.
And what a confidence boost that has to be, Jay, to guys like Curry and certainly Plumlee, having a guy like Kelly on the floor with them.
Well, he stretches the defense because of his ability to shoot it from deep.
Cook, no. Plumlee yet another rebound, and he draws the foul.
They just cannot handle him inside.
Yeah.
It is all Plumlee around that basket. The big 3, the seniors, have dominated.
James Michael McAdoo essentially playing out of position most of the time the last 6-7 games as a center, even though he's 6'8", 6'9", about 225 pounds. Bullock and Hairston on the bench right now, and Carolina just really doesn't have anybody to match up with Plumlee.
Well, and one of the things, though, Dan and Dick, when you play a smaller lineup, you've got to stay in front. You know, you've got a quicker team, or at least theoretically you should have a quicker team. And you've got to be able to stay in front of the ball without your defense getting broken down off the dribble.
And if you get broken down with the dribble, you got numbers 3-2, 4-3, and it creates all kinds of mismatches, layups inside.
And you're put in rotation.
Well, they've got Bryce Johnson in the game. He's one of their 5 men, but he's only 187 pounds, 6'9", 187. He's on Kelly right now. McAdoo remains on Plumlee.
Johnson's got to get stronger, but he can score points.
Yes, he can.
He can score points.
Kelly trying to back him down, and Kelly's heading to the free throw line.
Did a great job with the ball fake and head fake for all you young kids out there. Utilize that fake. I'm going to share this with you guys. 19 little tidbit. Since 1995, when you look at Duke, the difference of being a #1 seed and a #2 seed. When they were #2 seed, they're 4-4, and the furthest they ever got to the Sweet 16. As a #1 seed since '95, 4 Final Fours, 2 national titles. So there is a difference in a 1 and 2. The caliber of play you're going to play.
Of course, a win tonight would help their chances of being a #1, but it also depends on what happens in Greensboro next week and what happens around the country. Big East, Big Ten, Kansas, Gonzaga, and elsewhere.
I'm going to tell you this when come tournament time. You keep an eye on the #8 seeds against a possible #1. There are going to be some interesting matchups.
Entering this game tonight, by the way, Joe Lunardi had Carolina as a 6 seed and did have Duke on the 1 line. Bank shot for McAdoo.
Nice little catch by McAdoo, nobody on him, kisses it off the glass. All of the olden days of John Wooden used to teach, get that angle, lay it on the glass. Seems like Duke could do anything they want offensively. They can get the shots they want.
Well, they don't have a lot of pressure on him right now.
That's why it's tough to get back in the game.
Yeah.
No defensive effort by North Carolina. There it is, getting beat. Steps out.
Cook short on the jumper. And Page fouled by Hairston. That'll be the 4th on Josh Hairston as we check out the latest bit of bracketology from Joe Lunardi. He's got Duke on the 1 line along with the Zags, Indiana, and Kansas. Kentucky with a big win over Florida, moving them into the last 4 in, according to Joe. And there you can see the first 4 out as well. But so much can still change over the next week.
Well, they're dancing up in Big Blue Nation, man. They got to be ecstatic with that win over Florida.
Page gets the roll.
Roy Williams says he's going to be one heck of a player. Comes from Iowa, has scoring ability, and to step into the starting role at the point guard slot.
Well, he's improved just over the course of the year, Marcus Page has.
Yeah, he really has, Jay.
Knocked down a big 3 at Maryland after making a turnover on one end. Showed a lot of grit in doing that.
Showed a lot of toughness. Toughness.
Old style running hook by Plumlee won't go. Jay's new book, Toughness, out right now. Strickland trying to turn the corner.
I thought he carried it.
McAdoo, another one.
He's got a little jump shot going for him. He's got a little back problem, a bulging disc. Roy's still all fired up. Got it up to 20. I mean, he's working that sideline. Crowd's trying to get in it as well. They came here fired up, ready to really spark him on. And the Big Blue Nation sparked on Kentucky.
Plumlee, a little too much shoulder right there. Called for the offensive foul. 7:42 to go. Just down here to North Carolina. Another game day show with the guys. How you guys holding up?
Well, what you failed to mention is I flew that plane.
Hope you're getting double overtime, man. Hope you're getting double overtime.
Are you kidding? We're not breaking rocks for a living. I can't believe we get to do this.
A great show up at Georgetown today with Reese, Jay, Digger, and Jalen as Georgetown beats Syracuse again in the final scheduled Big East meeting between Georgetown and Syracuse. Still could meet in the Big East tournament. And another one of those rivalries, guys. Everybody's kind of, and you talk about, Jay, people are sad to see it go.
I was really sad today after the game was over. One, it wasn't as good of a game as we'd hoped, so it was sad about that. But also to see the rivalry as a Big East entity go away, and to see the Big East go away, it's really a sad thing.
Oh, no doubt about it. I mean, you talk about sadness. I wonder what Dave Gavitt would be thinking about what's happened. And now they do have a basketball league that they're forming, because I couldn't tell you right now who's in the old Big East. I have no idea. I mean, I could not keep up with it. But the bottom line is, it's a tragedy. It really is. But everything, move on. And
Syracuse and Pittsburgh will be in the ACC next year. Notre Dame's coming. So it could be next year or the year after. Louisville's coming the year after. And the so-called Catholic Seven, along with reportedly, potentially, the likes of Butler and Xavier and Creighton and Dayton and St. Louis, perhaps, may form the new Big East, if you will, a league built on basketball, which is what the original Big East was built on.
Well, that's why it's going to be terrific. It's going to be all hoops. They don't have to worry about football, and they're going to have an outstanding league.
At Tyco Integrated Security, we consider ourselves business optimizers. How? By building custom security solutions that integrate video, access control, fire and intrusion protection, all backed up with world-class monitoring centers, thousands of qualified technicians, and a personal passion to help protect your business. When your business is optimized like that, there's no stopping it. We are Tyco Integrated Security, and we are sharper.
Back in Chapel Hill, let's take a look now at how Seth Curry's making it happen tonight, brought to you by Chili's. He got off to a scintillating start tonight. 15 points early in this game, and he's got 20 on the night. Mason Plumlee's got 21. Those Dukes leading by 19.
Those two have combined for 17 of 26 from the field. Wow. That is efficient.
Really executed well, getting open shots. They've really carved North Carolina's defense apart. They set the tempo to get the big lead.
Duke already in the bonus. It'll be Kelly going to the line, the foul on Hairston. By the way, a streak is in jeopardy tonight. The home team has won every game of the Saturday Prime schedule, plus the day game today at Georgetown. The game day was there, and that means, Jay, your compadre, our friend, the Silver Fox, Digger Phelps, is riding a perfect streak this year that is in some jeopardy right now. Some would see a correlation between Digger picking the home team every week. Others would not. But he's 8-0 so far this year.
I never understand why he won't change his mind at night when the crowd can't hear him, because he's not going to get booed. That's really the underlying problem.
McAdoo, strong move, and he draws the foul.
Nice drive by McAdoo right there. Could have a third matchup possibly with these clubs in the ACC. There's a chance they can meet on Saturday in the semifinals.
They are locked into the 2 and 3 spots in the ACC tournament. Duke 2, Carolina 3.
Come on, smile, Mike, smile. I mean, smile. What a terrific year. Wow. Like that ring he's wearing.
Wearing one of his USA championship rings. Got 4 national championships, of course, and if he wins tonight, it'll be number 954.
How rare, though, Dan, think about this, how rare somebody else winning the ACC or Miami winning it rather than a Duke or a North Carolina.
And Miami blew out both of these teams. Beat one by 27, one by 26. Of course, Duke avenged the defeat in the big Ryan Kelly game last week. Miami will be the 1 seed. Virginia can still overtake North Carolina State for the 4 seed if they can beat Maryland tomorrow. That's a big game for Maryland and Virginia, not just for Greensboro, for overall NCAA tournament possibilities. McAdoo to miss, Hairston to fall.
Playing really hard right now. It's really Duke a little bit relaxed.
Well, North Carolina's throwing a trap on him. You get it across half court, and T.J. Hairston or Bullock will trap.
And a Duke turnover.
Getting a little sloppy, getting careless. Mike Krzyzewski recognizes that on the sideline. Losing a little bit of that focus, Jay, with the big lead.
It's a 10-2 run, Jay, for Carolina.
Well, Cook just needs to back dribble there and try to dribble through it and have receivers get themselves open. But North Carolina's done a really good job 2 times in a row of throwing that trap on, confusing the Blue Devils.
McAdoo couldn't finish, and Plumlee, the rebound, is 11.
I'll tell you one thing about McAdoo. He's been assertive here tonight. He's really been aggressive on the offensive end. His buddies haven't helped him at all tonight, Bullock and Hairston.
Well, he's really talking to himself going back on D. He knows he should have made that one.
Using the big guys up with high ball screens. Here comes Plumlee to lay one, then release to the goal.
There's the switch now. Marking Page is on Plumlee. Got to get him the ball.
Got to flip the ball up to him. You're right, Jay. Got to recognize the switch.
Hairston for 3. Their first 3 of the night.
Wow, they make the 3 and the place roars. Big time. Down 14 with 5 on the clock.
Game seemed like it was in hand for Duke. He was really trying to get his team and inject some emotion into him, and I think he accomplished that.
Yeah, he was like the orchestra leader on his side. No doubt about it. They were down 20, and he was fighting that sideline. See, here's where Duke could really hurt you, because they got such excellent perimeter players who can make free throws. And this is one of them right here. Mr. Curry.
Good patience by Curry. Kelly with a floater short, got it back, and they can run some more time off the clock.
One of the lost starts, we talk about it often. Nobody put a body on Kelly.
Carolina trying to step up the tempo with some pressure.
And a little double up, she gets some layups off it if you reverse the ball. Off the double team, swing to the other side.
And an off-balance leaner with the left hand goes for Cook.
He's going to be a special player. He has really gotten so much better. Last year was a tough year, a lot of injuries.
Well, that was a heck of a finish with the left hand.
Strickland, no. Cook down with a rebound.
Silence the crowd right now.
Well, Duke's just content to run clock down.
Post somebody to the middle.
They'll run a set in the last 12, 13 seconds.
Comes the ball screen for Curry. Switch in there. They got a big switch to the mismatch inside on Plumlee. Wow.
Two great plays by Cook on back-to-back possessions.
Terrific drives by Cook. Used that left hand really well.
That's excellent execution at the end of a clock.
And it's clock management at its best, Mr. Billis.
All right, Chris, thank you. Potentially on their way to another game against St. Mary's if St. Mary's can advance to the finals in the West Coast Conference, a game that'll take place on a Monday night. Bonus situation now for Carolina for the first time, just 3:09 to go. If you weren't with us early, Duke scored the first 14 points of this game. Carolina scored the next 5 to make it 14-5 and 9. That is the closest that Carolina has been since then. They just have not been able to make enough shots to make this a game.
The early tempo of the game was established with Curry going 7 for 7 early in the game.
Mason Plumlee's had a big night as well with 21 points and 11 rebounds.
Tough to get help here. They spread the court. Great spacing. Post up well, little triangle.
There's the ball screen switch.
Not this time for Cook. Kept alive by Bullock into the hands of McAdoo. Numbers for Carolina. Page for 3. Duke ball. 1 for 13 from three-point range.
You know, we talk about #1 seeds. We talk about Duke being a #1 in Gonzaga. People are going to start talking about Georgetown. I think the Hoyas have to start to be given consideration, Jay, for that possible #1 line.
Well, I think they will be given consideration. And you know, another team that I think could wind up with a #1 seed if they win their conference tournament is Louisville.
Absolutely. Louisville just had the one little slide. Somebody out of the Big Ten, obviously.
Deep one for Hairston.
It was a little early to take those last 2 threes. The one by Page, that's certainly not a bad shot, but you might be better off just taking it all the way to the rim.
Like Plumlee just did.
He took it to the rim, all right. He took it to the rim.
What a night he's had.
He's had a great night. So has Curry early. First half it was Curry. Second half it was Plumlee. And the presence of Kelly elevated. And don't forget the great defensive effort of the entire Duke team.
Hairston with a layup. So Duke will go into the ACC tournament 27-4, the 2 seed in the conference. Carolina will go in 22-9. The 3 seed in the conference, Miami, the ACC regular season champs.
I think the biggest stat for Duke, talked about it early, no one has beaten them with a full cast. They are 18-0 right now with Kelly in the lineup.
Dexter Strickland sits down. Jay, he's a senior, so going to the bench presumably for the last time in this building.
Well, he's a respected player. Just really did a great job coming back from that tough knee injury he had last year against Virginia Tech. Showed a lot of guts in his career.
He's had a terrific last 6 games prior to this one. 31 assists, only 3 turnovers. I mean, that's one heck of a ratio. Even a dummy like me mathematically would figure that's almost 10-1.
And before he got hurt, one of the truly elite defenders in the ACC.
You know, another story for Carolina tonight. They've had 18 offensive rebounds, but just have not been able to capitalize on most of those.
Tell you, things run in cycles, and the ACC's future's unbelievable. This year, let's face reality, it has not been super from top to bottom in the conference.
Shot clock running down. Long jumper by Cook. Plumlee with a rebound. Shot clock is off now. The Duke Blue Devils will defeat North Carolina for the 2nd time this season and for the 7th time in the last 9 meetings. Here's tonight's game track. Brought to you by DirecTV. Mason Plumlee with 23 and 13. Seth Curry with 20 points tonight. And Carolina just not shooting the ball well. 1 for 14 from three-point range and shooting 34% from the field overall, Jay. There's just no way they're going to beat a team like Duke with those kinds of numbers.
Duke played extraordinarily well from the opening tap, and even though North Carolina is going to come away with this game with an L, I still think this team in the postseason is going to be dangerous. With this 4-guard lineup, I think they can cause some real problems for somebody.
It's really interesting as well that Duke, to win consecutive years here, it's the first time in over a decade that they've been able to do that, and winning consecutive years here on the floor at Chapel Hill. You know, I miss here. I got a little plug here. Colton Tudor. Guy's a terrific writer, retired, and he really should be here covering this game, finishing his career, covering the ACC. We miss you, Mr. Tudor. You've done a phenomenal job in covering, and I stole a lot of your information and utilized it on the air from your columns.
Sports Center is coming up next here on ESPN. The Duke Blue Devils with an impressive road victory here on senior night in Chapel Hill, strengthening their case for a #1 seed. North Carolina will try to regroup and head into the postseason. They will be the #3 seed in the ACC tournament. The Blue Devils will be a 2 seed. Huge night for Plumlee. Huge night